Hi, good morning, Abed. How are you?
Hi, hi. Thank you for having me.
Great, Abed. It's lovely you could join the show. So, Abed, please introduce yourself and maybe give a flavor to our audience what the Abed Hathot story is, and particularly around the Palestinian Music Expo would be great.
All right. I'm a music composer slash producer, guitar player. I have background in playing Palestinian heavy metal, and also I'm the co-founder of the Palestine Music Expo, which is an annual event that we take place in Ramallah, where we bring top music industry delegates like Glastonbury Festival, Cooking Vinyl, big names to Palestine, where showcase Palestinian artists and bands. And yeah, we've been doing that for a while. It's been going really good, and it's like really heartwarming to be able to change the life of some artists over there.
Do you know, I know that a lot of folk tuning in will be interested in your story, Abed, because it's an interesting one. It's a musician and an artist, creative. Secondly, it's the business of making music, which isn't an easy thing. I'm just trying to focus on it. And then thirdly, your own personal journey moving from Palestine to where you are now in kind of rock and roll center in LA. So you're going to play guitar, be in LA. So I think there's a kind of Abed Hathot kind of past, present, and future story. So maybe just for our listeners tuning in, where does the Abed Hathot story begin? So give us a sense of your beginnings.
Well, okay, so if we're gonna go really back, I think it would be like growing up in a family where, like, my mom is an oud player.
Oh wow!
My grandfather is also like a oud player and big violin player. Used to be. He used to play with big names in the Arab world too. And growing like in that family, listening to Arabic music all my life, the first thing I wanted to do when I'm a teenager is not Arabic music. It's just going to the other side and trying to play hard rock and metal music. And then like I did that with the band, and then the band evolved, and I'm trying to be like really quick. We got back to our roots, and we actually started doing like Middle Eastern metal music. Um, so yeah, that's the origin. Growing up in a city, mixed city, in the northern side of Israel, where like Palestinians and Israelis live together, and that was like also pretty effective.
I want to revisit the kind of Palestine Israeli story of today and to paint a picture for folk. But listen, Palestinian rock music, we got to give our audience a flavor of this. So if there's one song you wanted to pick from an archive, and we're going to play 90 seconds of it now and then come back to this interview, what song would you pick and why?
Um, let's go with Hazil Adala.
Hazard Adela. So I'm going
Okay.
to take it away, treat you a Hazard Adela, then we'll whisk back and you can tell her what it's all about. Wow. So look, I know that was shot, the video was shot around your city. So maybe just paint a picture of your city, what it was like living in a mixed environment. I mean, we hear so much of Palestine and conflict and tension between Arab and Israeli, but maybe just paint a little bit of what we're seeing in the video there, and about what it was like living in that mixed environment, and maybe how music brought people together. I bet.
So so the city has two parts. It has like the city of Akka or Akko or Acre. It's been around for 5,000 years. It's a very old city. And there's the old city and there's like the newer parts around the city. In the old city, up till 48, it was pretty much mixed city, like Arabs and Jews living together in that city, all, no problems at all. But then like the Nakba happened, and it's as just as a Palestinian city, and like just like any other Palestinian city at that time, they all also suffered from what happened. So today there was a point where because of like the government kind of neglected the old city because it was mostly Arabs after
The
48.
Israeli government wouldn't be funding the old city because part of the Israeli territory.
Yeah.
Right.
So they would like, the funny thing is they would give fund to like the city of Akka, but most of the fund would go to Israeli Jewish neighborhoods and not like the old Arab city. So that happens for a few years, and lately in the past few years, what is happening is they've been taking Arabs out of the old city and like replacing them with settlers.
Yes.
And they're doing it like using kind of the law where like if you're an Arab family in the old city, like let's say you need to fix something in the house, you can't do it without going to the municipality and get the approval, and the municipality won't give you the approval unless you use like their people, and their people like will cost you a fortune. So they would say, okay, since you can't afford that, how about like take this amount of money, give us the house and get out. So it's
it's forced displacement.
exactly, hitting by the law.
Yeah, and so first of all, you then blend these musical influences together. So we return to music. Maybe explain just it's not something you would hear as a musical genre. I'm not something I think when I think of Israel and Palestine, of music festivals. Just maybe paint a picture for the scene there, what the music's like, what people want to rock out to music all over the world. So maybe just paint that scene to us too would be great, I bet.
So when we started, there was no Palestinian metal music. Like there was a scene. Like you couldn't, like in London, you want to join a rock band, you join a rock band or a metal band and you rock out. Like over there, we had to build a scene. So like when we used to perform on stage wearing red leather pants and like shouting and jumping and headbanging, people didn't know how to react to that. Yeah. So, and it's kind of because of that situation, because like there wasn't much of a scene. At the same time, if you're a metalhead, you would know like all the metalhead kind of around you, and that's before internet. So like the scene in the Israeli side was much more developed. Wow. So we used to like hang around and go to like Israeli bands performing metal because we didn't have that.
And these are mixed audience. I bet there's no segregation or sectarianism at an audience level. It's just people with the love of music together.
Yeah, well, depends on, yes, because like again, that's not in the West Bank side, that's in the Israeli side. So it's like always a mixed audience, and even depends on the metal side. Like the metal scene, there wasn't that like you're Arab or you're not. Yeah. It's kind of like music brought everyone together. But like if you tried as an Arab to go to like an Israeli club, dance and whatever, they wouldn't allow you to go in. Right. Like they would say it's private party or whatever, So it depends on the scene.
Yeah. And so I'm gonna move around in time a little bit, and look, maybe just talk about we touched earlier about the Palestinian Music Expo.
Yes.
Bringing like Cooking Vinyl, these kind of Steve Budd, all these folk from the West. Can I say, to hosting them there? Maybe give a flavour of that, and then if there's a particular act that you want to highlight, and a little bit of music, we'll cut to that music now too. So maybe set the scene, and then we'll cut to a song.
All right. So we started the thing like being in a band and being able to go out of that region and interact with other musicians and understanding the difference between being a musician who's coming from a place where there's no music industry, or like being a musician who's coming from, I don't know, London, where you have like record producers, you have publishing companies, record labels, people who know how to record the rock band, for example, you know, all the expertise. We didn't have that over there. Yeah. So we didn't have that. And the whole idea started was when Martin Goldschmidt was visiting. We were drinking in a bar in Haifa and we're talking about the situation, and the idea came up of like, why don't we try, if those musicians can't leave and go out to meet other people, why don't we bring other people? And it's like, okay, we never tried it before, let's do it. Like if it works, it works. And it worked. So yeah, like in average, we get around 70 delegates each year to come over there in Ramallah. We showcase 23, 24 bands or different artists. And like, you know, during 3 days, where in the morning we do workshops, master classes, tours, and in the evening we do the showcases. And for the workshops, we bring like, you know, we got Brian Eno to do a workshop. We got James Ford, who produced the Depeche Mode and all those guys, to do like a workshop about music production. So yeah, like and also at the same time, we're working with the Palestinian Ministry of Culture to embed a copyright law in Palestine, which is one of the many steps we're trying to do, which is our main goal is, besides showcasing the artists, is bring the Palestinian music scene to a place where artists over there can just make a living out of their music. You know, they don't have to have a second job. Like if you're an artist, you have like all the opportunities. You can write for film and TV and get paid for that. You can put your music on the radio and get paid for that, because today they don't. All that kind of stuff that, you know, it's not just about having a concert and selling a CD. Yeah.
Is there a particular artist you'd like to highlight for our audience, and we'll cut to that video now and maybe introduce that artist and why?
Well, it's kind of, we had a lot of success stories. I'm debating of like choosing the obvious ones or like giving a stage to a kind of a new artist. Okay, so let's go with Bashar Murad. He's a Palestinian artist. He has his EP, I think, released in 2 days. He got signed after the performing in PMX. He got signed to Pop Arabia, who are like, and they have like part of Reservoir Music. He performed, got booked to festivals, performed like I don't remember how many countries, but a lot. He went to performed also in Canada Music Week in 2019. A great guy, super talented, and he's like I think he's the first LGBTQ pop star, Palestinian pop star.
Wow, fantastic! And considering it's Pride Month as well, it's absolutely,
yeah.
I did not know that. Brilliant.
Exactly.
خطوتين لقدام وعشرة لورا، شايف غير هالأيام وين الفضا، بطلع لي الجيش مع الشاش جاي العمى رايح وين، بيقول لي ارجع لورا، مش طالع بإيدي أغير نصيبي ولا حدا فاهم أساليبي، طالع بإيدي كاسة ويسكي ولسه ما بتكفيني، صب كمان كاس لف سيجارة، بركي بنسى كل هالخارة، بركي بنسى هالمسخرة، بحس حالي برجع لورا، صب كمان كاس لف سيجارة، بركي بنسى هالمسخرة، بركي بنسى هالمسخرة، بحس حالي برجع لورا. صار لي سنتين في كتاب ماكل هوا، حسدتني العين ولا خيال يفهمني حدا، طب شو بعدين شو كمان، وين الفرق انا رايح وين، عقلي تعبان صبري انتهى، مش طالع بايدي اغير نصيبي ولا حدا فاهم اساليبي،
Absolutely fabulous. So Abed, before we jump off and talk and bring us up to the current day, what you're doing today, the mix of Palestine, Israel, LGBT activism, and music in this heady mix, it's super super exciting, and pushes conventions and what we would view here in the West sometimes looking in, because we only see such the harrowing story that's happening obviously in Palestine and Gaza and the West Bank. So your own personal journey going up to date, you've emigrated and you now live in the US, and the journey with your music and the project you're working on, how was that transition for you, like moving from home to a new home, and how do you find the US today, and share with us your own experience? That would be great.
So the main reason I moved to the US, it was to focus more on writing for film and TV, because I felt at some point with my band, and because I have also an experience in music publishing and music industry, I felt like over there, I reach a point where like it's the limit. I can't get more than that.
Yes.
So we tried, like me and my wife, to come to LA and said, let's give it a 6 month. If it works, great. If not, we'll come back. It worked. So we're here. So beside doing the Palestine Music Expo, I also write the music for libraries. I do produce a few artists from there. I have a hybrid company between record label and publishing, where we bring music from the MENA region, and we put it on, like, we do like digital distribution and sync and licensing over here in Hollywood, try to push that music in films and TV over here. So it's a bunch of things. I write meditation music too.
Oh, great! And so your mom and dad, who are traditional, baked into traditional music and traditional stuff, now when they see their boy in Hollywood making Hollywood, how do they feel?
I think they don't really understand a lot of what I'm doing, but they're happy.
My own mom and dad say, exactly what do you do?
Yeah.
You know?
She knows that I'm doing music, and it makes her happy.
And is LA home now? Can you ever see going back to Israel or Palestine?
I still travel there before COVID, at least. I still try to be there twice a year. It's kind of weird because I feel that this is home, but at the same time, I feel that over there is home too.
Do you know we'd love you to come back and share some more stories with us, and maybe we'll do another special just on the Palestine PMX Palestinian music. When's the next one scheduled?
September 2022.
September 22. So we'll have to get you back before September 2022.
Yeah.
There's a couple of things that we're going to do. If there's one thing about the journey of Palestine, Israel, our story about different voices, what's happening there, your journey with music and your journey to LA, if there's one thing you wanted the audience to take away from our short chat today about, what would be that one thing you'd want to share?
I would say it's something that I've noticed a lot through my travel, and it's always, oh, I didn't know there's metal music in Palestine. I didn't know there's pop music in Palestine. I didn't know there's hip hop music over there. It's just like, I would ask the viewers to just search that, like do a little bit of research, because the talent over there is absolutely insane. Like,
what do you have any art? I mean, we've got Bashar Morad as an artist. Do you have some other artists you could recommend now, or sources that people can check out? Or
yeah, definitely. There's a reggae band from Golan Heights. Like, so it's like, it's called Toot Art. They do a mix between reggae and Sahara blues. There's a Palestinian hip hop group, Dam. They're like the founders of Arabic hip hop. There's a band that do folklore music, but in a very new way, like electro style way. It's called Zenubia. There's 47 Soul, who also like pretty big.
I tell you what, let's not wait till September 2022 for PMX. Would you be up for curating a virtual showcase of some bands like we're doing today and having some fun?
Yeah, for sure.
Why don't we organize that? That'd be great.
Yeah, we can bring some artists too. we can bring Bashar and like a bunch of other artists.
A party and we'll do like a meet and greet and a video stuff, and maybe we'll get
That would be awesome.
we'll get some. Well, that's a date. That's definitely brilliant. So to whet people's appetite to look forward to our virtual showcase later in the year, maybe we'll organise that for maybe September, October would be great. What song would you like us to play out on? And I think it has to be maybe one of your own compositions or a particular song that you'd like us to play out on, Abed.
Wow. It's kind of hard, like so many things. I'm not gonna choose my own compositions because we played that already. I want something else. Maybe we do. Let's go with Dam, the Palestinian hip hop group. They have a track called "Imtan Jawzak Yamma," which is kind of funny because I like it. It's the "Imtan Jawzak Yamma." It talks about how the Palestinian youth also always get asked by their parents when you're gonna get married. So it's just about that.
It's the same all over the world, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's great. Well, take it away, Abed. You're an absolute gentleman. Thank you so much. Much love and best wishes to you and your wife to continue success in LA. I cannot wait to maybe plan this virtual showcase. We'll have it in later.
Yes.
Thank you so much for saying yes, and see you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
ولا ليرة ولا بيتكوين مسلطنة وش بدكم انت نجوزك يما انت نتركز يما انت نجوزك يما والبنك يتصلي امتى تيجي عنا Don't worry انا اوكي كله مظبط كله مسوقت Don't worry انا اوكي بلا هالمشكنتة ومتخوزة سبع الارمات ديك بدق عالباب وانا تحت الحاف سمع عالبلكون جيرتي دبري عريس احصائيات اغلب الازواج بتنامش على نفس الفراش ومع الايفون سيري زبطي عريس قولوا لابن الحلال يستنى لانه العالم عم بستناني بلاقي شريكي بعد ما لاقي حالي حاليا صحتي العزوبية صباح الظهرية المرخية انت نجوزك يوم